ओम परम श्रद्धेय स्वामी जी, परम पूज्य आचार्य जी की सूक्ष्म उपस्थिति को प्रणाम करते हैं और आज थोड़ा सा डिस्कशन करते हैं पतंजलि रिसर्च फाउंडेशन की तरह, राइट। और ये पूरे कार्यक्रम की जो पूरी रूपरेखा है और जो अच्छे तरीके से हो रहा है, उसके लिए हमारी साध्वी बहन जी जो पीछे जाके बैठ गई हैं, उनका भी एक बार जोर से ताली बजा के धन्यवाद कर देते हैं। पूज्य बहन साध्वी देव आदिति जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और कृतज्ञता कि हमें एक ऐसा मौका दिया है कि हम आपस में बात कर पाएं। Right? So now I'll quickly switch to this presentation, which says evidence-based integrated natural drug development, which all of you understand, right? But the line at the bottom might sound slightly funny. This says reverse is the new way forward, right? That sounds, how is it possible to go ahead and we say reverse is the new way forward? So what I'm trying to do, just to leave this as a seed in your thoughts for time being, this is kept there deliberately. I will come back to it and try to explain why I want to say it and what is the reason that I strongly believe the reverse is the new way forward. So I'm going to introduce Patanjali Research Foundation, which is, we are blessed by Param Shraddha Swami Ji, Param Puja Acharya Ji, and these are, the whole foundation have been set up in 2017, and these laboratory was inaugurated by our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. And what I would like to say that these labs, the research work that we conduct, you will get to see a little part of it in few slides later, that these are probably one of the only kind labs in the world for working on Ayurveda. So when I say that, I mean to say you have different kind of laboratories where we do research on biology, research on chemistry, maybe astrophysics, different kind of physical measurements that happen in different part of the world. But for Ayurveda to bring it together at one place and remain focused in one direction to find out what's the mode of action of the drugs that we work with, that becomes challenging. And for that, that's only one place right now in the world where we work with at Patanjali Research Foundation in Haridwar, just next door. Thank you. So how many you have been to PRF? Yesterday. Did you see you moved around? Oh, you went to seminar room. That's a very nice place actually. Yeah. I think that's the only place where we get to sit, right? And other than that, there is a herbarium, there are the museum for the paintings, and there is a beautiful herbal garden. Maybe it's a part of the plan, right? Maybe sometime in couple of days you would get to see that. So that way, our Behan Devaditi ji plans very well. She keeps good things spaced out. So you really, get to enjoy it in bits and pieces. So we were talking about PRF. So as I said, the technology matters. We have the best quality equipment, but what matters most are the people who do the research, the team of scientists. We have close to 300 scientists right now in these areas who are globally trained. A couple of people have come from UK as well. There are 4 or 5 from Europe, and there are maybe like 20, 30 from US, and there are folks from Australia, New Zealand, and other part of the world, and including India. So we have people who are PhDs, postdoctorate, masters, and have a different expertise domain. We have biotechnologists, we have pharmacologists, we have neuroscientists, cardiobiologists. I mean, whatever kind of diversity we could see for looking at the biological function, we do it over here. So the key thing, the good tools, or I would say toys. If we have good toys and we have good kids to play with toys, it becomes a very happy environment. So we get to do it here at PRF on a daily basis. And these operations that we conduct help us to go towards the mission that we have for Patanjali Research Foundation Trust. And that's the mission that we work with. Our mission is to improve the health and quality of life through research and innovation. That's a goal that we have been working with, and then we choose to do everyone across the world. And to do this has been the vision that how do you want to take it forward. So we do have very large, unstructured Ayurvedic and herbal information, which have been there for several years, centuries, I would say. And then we do have a rich history of medicinal plant. Now, if you combine them together and funnel it together with the specific methods and setting up the various paths of the wisdom, modern practice, delivery, and looking for multi things together, we would reach eventually where we want to reach, which we call scientifically validated, evidence-based medicinal system. That is the keyword I would request all of you to pay focus on. Benji, is there some exam coming up for people later? There's a surprise, okay. And I am I'm known to break the surprises. So if there is ever an exam, there might be one question coming from this slide, right? So I am spilling the beans, focus on there too, because this is the keyword, scientifically validated, evidence-based medicine system. That simply means that if you're talking about medicinal system, that means if someone gets sick, first, of course, they shouldn't get sick, but if they get sick, their choice of treatment should be the first one, Ayurveda. Right now, there are medical systems like allopathy, homeopathy, naturopathy. A lot of things are happening, right? But every pathy's, all system has their own strengths and weaknesses too. Now, Ayurveda is very well known, accepted in India, but what we want to have it globally accepted. That means when we say Ayurveda exists, it exists as a medical system, and for that we need to generate body of evidences. It's simply like if I go to Russia and I don't know Russian and I have to get food. So I either need to understand how to order food or learn a little bit of Russian. And the same way works from them as well. Same way works for Ayurveda, same way works for allopathy, same way works for scientific research. So we generate the evidences in a language which is understandable by everyone. For example, WHO, FDA, or the regulatory bodies in UK and Europe. So whatever they require for an evidence, if we generate in that fantastic dossier, then the whole part of the science, whole part of the therapy becomes more acceptable. So that is where we are aiming for, and for that we need to have very well characterized Ayurvedic herbal drugs, which are the core part of our operations nowadays. So to reach there, we have to find a path. So how we have been doing and what our strategy has been. So we work on this sort of a pyramid where I think the whole thing started in like 1995, but when Param Pujya Swamiji and Shraddha Acharji set up a Divya pharmacy and whole process of medicinal generation. And then that was a part of initiation where we had very nice wisdom and visionary leadership from Acharji and Swamiji. And we took it forward, set up a sort of fancy processes, got the medicine and world-class infrastructure, and moved towards here. That's where we are here right now. We are at the stage of actualization, where we have energized workforce, I'm one of them, and ignited thoughts we get from Acharya and Swamiji on daily basis, and we are focusing on quality delivery. That means whatever we deliver, it comes with a very fancy quality, which is reproducible, and it can be seen on all part of the world in the same way. And of course, this is where we are aiming for, and hopefully we'll reach there very soon, which would be the capstone or epitome of the success, where we have universal acceptance of Ayurveda. Right? This part is all clear? And when I generally say this line, I hear a lot of clapping from the audience. So maybe we should actually, see, I'm very demanding, right? So please feel free, and whenever you feel like there's something that touches your thoughts, hearts, brain, or soul, or whatever part, please express it. So I will also know that, the carbon dioxide in the blood has not gone up significantly after meals, and you're all awake, right? Okay. Now, this is slightly busy slide, but this is very important slide too. This talks about what are the research strength and accreditations Patanjali Research Foundation has. So, like when we talk about protocols, all of you guys know protocol, protocols well aware, like set of rules, how do we do it, right? Like making chapatis, you need to take a wheat, make a flour, make a dough, and then have chapati, apply ghee and eat, right? The whole step would be protocol. Same way in scientific world, there are protocols for doing research, conducting research, and analyzing data, generating output, and getting things published. All right. So same protocols exist everywhere, and there are known paths that people have to follow. So what we do at Patanjali, most of the things are at the global standards. The protocols we follow, which are there from anywhere in the world. The top pharma companies follow the protocols, the same we follow. We actually sometimes, I would say, meet them all and beat them at times as well. Matlab, all protocols which is required are happening, and you can see different accreditations comes, like our labs are accredited by NABL, which is the quality parameter in India, and we are also registered with Government of India, Department of Science and Technology, and we get to see all the work that we do get accepted across the forum. The labs are in compliance with biosafety. That would mean that scientists who are doing the work, they don't get exposed wrong way. And there are specific technologies for doing research in microbiology or with animals. We also have ethical committee for doing clinical trials. And then we have a dedicated animal house and a dedicated herbarium, which is accredited by New York Botanical Gardens in US. We also have a hospital. I'm sure you guys have seen it there in the phase one. 250 bedded Ayurvedic hospital with NABH accreditation, approved Ayurvedic medical college with PG approval in 8 subjects, and close to 2,500 Ayurvedic doctors across India on roster, which sees the daily footfall of 30,000 patients. That becomes a huge number. Now, 30,000 patients in a day, their data get enrolled into a system called Patanjali Electronic Medical Record, PEMR. And that right now houses the data of close to 1 crore patients. 1 crore is a huge number. All the patients who has been ever visited to Patanjali for their treatment, their history, and what treatment benefit they got, all have been compiled at one place. And as Acharji says, that coming time is the time for the data. Data is the money. So this 1 crore patient data is a huge, huge money we're talking about. All right, so now let's come to a little bit about Patanjali Research Foundation. What's the segment we work with? This is just to introduce the various part of it. You would hear probably from Priya ji later. She will talk a bit about herbal research. I'm going to talk a little bit about drug discovery and development, that how we discover new drugs, how we develop them as an therapy that could work it out. And then we have painting and herbarium sections, which you will see eventually in a couple of days. And then we have a very nice section of ancient documents. These are the manuscripts which are written maybe 1,000 years old, which are written on a piece of like leaves or wooden blocks, which are written in a language that some of them are very hard to understand now. Those ancient manuscripts are there with Patanjali. Close to 1 lakh sheets are there, which are now being scanned, digitized, and being transcribed so that we can understand what our ancestors have done. All of that is being done here too. When you visit PRF, you will get to see some of those manuscripts too. You might get chance to touch them, feel them, and realize how smart our ancestors were to write down things in a paper or on a leaf, in an ink which is still having a life of its own. It's really, really nice to see that. Sometimes when I see it, feel it, I get goosebumps. Oh, some years ago, someone really wrote it, and it is being done so beautifully. And they're writing, they're all handwritten, but they give you feeling that they have been typed. They're all uniformly done, and very, 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 very nice thing. And we also have a dedicated team that take care of yoga research, which is happening at Patanjali Yogpeeth Phase 1. Other than that, we get support from Patanjali Organic Research Institute, Central Lab from Padartha, and New Product Development and Hospital and Medical College. So basically, these are the segments that we deal with, and we try to see that what we can do and which way we can take it forward. Now, let's come to introduction to drug discovery and development. So far it's okay, or I'm running away with the information? All okay? All okay? I'm not hearing any sound from the back. Yes? Okay, very nice. So if I'm getting too fast, or you thinking I'm running through slides and just, going to super fast bullet train kind of thing, stop me. I apply brakes very quickly, like what I'm doing right now. All right? So feel free. So drug discovery and development, now this is the best part so far, and that is my core competency, and I feel very honored and happy to be a part of this team, where we do the experiments in various ways. If some of you have time and have an interest, I will ask you to come to our lab area as well. We cannot house, of course, so many people, but maybe 10, 15, we would be happy to show you around the type of work we do and how we do. And now, if you look into these slides, these are just the photographs of our infrastructure. I call them the toys that we have. All these toys actually works out for these 5 various departments. So when we do the research on cells, everyone knows cells? I mean, not the cells that goes on a device. Like, right, not the battery, right? We're talking about the biological cells, which are the functional unit of our life, right? So we have 37 trillion cells in our body from head to tail, right? And all of those cells work as an individual unit. If you work with those cells, you can actually get to the basics of a disease. So we do that a lot at our area, and that work is done in vitro biology, which is like a cell biology. And once we get some data from there, we go to in vivo biology, where we talk about the work with animals. So we conduct a lot of animal experimentation, various animal models, and those works are done by the team in vivo biology. And then we do herbal chemistry. Herbal chemistry is like, since we work with herbs, so we need to know what are the components of each and every herb. So we take that to a detailed analysis and find out how we can make it more enriched and make sure that every time we get what we're supposed to get. And then there is a team microbiology, where we work for infections, either bacteria, virus, or function. And also we also see how our host responds. Basically, suppose someone get infections, so how the human body respond to that infection. That also being tested at microbiology team. And in the end, which is a more critical part, is the clinical research. So we have drugs, we test them on human patients, and also see how the patients who come here, they respond to the various treatment. And all of those work are being driven by the guidance and ideas from Param Puj Acharji on daily basis. We get a lot of feedbacks from him that what we can do, how we can take it forward, and where we should slow down, where we should fasten up. So that kind of thing, the top line guidance come from Acharji almost on the daily basis. And there's a few more photographs of those teams, like in vitro biology doing a work on the cell culture, in vivo doing on the animals, herbal chemistry doing the chemistry lab, microbiology playing with plates for virus, bacteria, very colorful stuff over there, and clinical research doing documentation of the trials and following up what need to be done at various places. Now, I'll try to show you the animal models that we use in our lab. These are slightly more live slides, a few things that is moving around, and that will catch your eyes too. The one that you see on the left-hand side, where my cursor is right now, that is called C. elegans. C. elegans is a very elegant animal. You can see they move very elegantly. They are the distant cousin of earthworms. They are called nematodes, and they have close to 68% genetic similarity with human. That means there are a few major biological processes that we can actually compare with C. elegans. And in Ayurveda, Patanjali Research Foundation is probably the first one and the only one to generate human disease models of C. elegans. We work on diabetes, we work on obesity, we work on infections on these worms. These worms are transparent in nature, so you can visualize them better. You can also label them with various dyes and colors and look for the proteins which has a specific pathway that you can do on these worms. And they have a very short shelf life. I mean, their life cycle is 21 days. So they give you a lot of opportunity to play with them. You can see how they grow, how they age, and if you're looking for their breedings and all, so it becomes very easy, very fast. If you do the experiment with rat and mice, it will take maybe several months. The same thing can be done with these worms in a matter of weeks. So it fastens the whole process, and the acceptability of the experiment on these worms are slightly higher right now because they consider slightly more in thing. You know, before cell phone came, before iPhone came, we had those landline phones. So when the mobile phone came, they become more in thing, and then the use of a landline become low. C. elegans is nowadays iPhone. That means in the biological research, you're trying to find something new, something more catchy. So we generate those things here as well. Next come in line is zebrafish. This is a fish model again, which is a size of maybe 1.5 inch. It has a stripe like zebra. That's the reason it's called zebra fish. And we have conducted a lot of work on zebra fish for various diseases. During COVID time, the drug that we have, Coronil, the first model at that time when during COVID there was very hard to do any research, we generated a humanized zebra fish model, where we took human lung cells and transplanted inside these fish and got them to express the human genes right at that area. And we could show that, this may be a good model for testing the COVID kind of symptoms. So that happens with these fish. And here what you see, mice, which is a very tinier one, close to 25 grams, and the rats. So mice and rats are not same. I mean, all of you know that, right? Mice are different animals, rats are different animals. Rats are big, close to 250 grams each. And it's not like that a small rat would be mice. No. They are two different animals, and we conduct a lot of research on this. I do talk about at various length, but the most of the experiment right now going on the mice in our lab. And what you see here, the gentleman who's waving at you, you can wave it back if you want to. Hamsters. Hamsters generally do not wave that well. We use AI to make it wave for you. So you can clap for the hamster too. And the scientists who make the waving hamster. So hamsters are, again, cousin of squirrels. And we do research with them for gynecological research. So for all those specific areas where these animals have a better similarities and they express those models better, we do with hamsters. And then we have guinea pigs. Guinea pigs, all of you, right? How many of you have seen a guinea pig? Oh, very nice. Good. Not on the TV. I mean, really, right? Okay. So, you have a pet. Very nice. So we have lots of guinea pigs with us, and for the research which is requiring upper nose and beyond, I mean for a disease like rhinitis, these animals are excellent model. So we generate rhinitis model in guinea pigs and see if we look for the drugs like Swasari Bati or Swasari Gold or Coronil for that matter, how that actually affects that disease. So we work with them. And finally, rabbits. So rabbits are, of course, larger, and all the skin disease research and eye disease research happens with rabbits. So all these animals are here with us in our animal house at PRF. Other than that, we also work with dogs and we work with monkeys. Those research we do outside India. Monkeys research happen in China, and dog research happen in some part of Europe, and also one new labs in Hyderabad. So this is about what kind of animal models we generate. Now it comes out that when we have a test article, we know how those medicines are going to work, we know how are we going to test them, but this comes out that how are we going to plan it. And that's a very challenging thing. And we started the operations. Acharji advised us that which direction we could go. One way was, looking at the one drug at a time and seeing it which disease it could impact. So Ayurveda has close to 1,000 different kind of drugs. So if you go take a one drug and test it out what works for various diseases, it might take longer. What we did then, we reversed it. We said we will focus on the disease and see at each disease area what kind of drugs that might show an efficacy. And that's what we call disease-driven approach, where we look for various disease phenotypes and we try to combine it together so we can win them, either inflammation, metabolic disorder, cancer, neuroscience, or infectious diseases. And we can then see under inflammation, you have rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, asthma, bronchitis, COPD, psoriasis. These are all inflammatory part. And we have a lot of drugs that have shown a very superior response to it. And in metabolic problems, we can look for diabetes, cardiovascular disease, liver problems, kidney problems, cholesterol issues. All of them come over here. And then in cancer, we have been working on lung cancer, we are working on blood cancer, now we're working on ovarian cancer, and the recent work just started on skin cancer. Breast cancer have been there as well. Yes, sir. Very nice, sir. I was seeding this question, and I am very happy that you see it. Let's clap for him, sir. Very nice. So these numbers are the number of drugs that has come out from these research. Like for example, we have 32 drugs, 32 test articles that came out from the research done over here, and which helps us to formulate the drugs that you see on the flyers with you, right? And similarly, 26 are for the metabolic disorder, 6 for the cancer, 18 for the neuroscience, and 31 for the infectious disease. So these are the research final output, how this research has taken it forward. And we take this forward, and then if in last 4 years or so, we have formulated 60 new medicines which has a grit at the end. We call them grit series of Ayurvedic drugs. So you see Levogrit, you see Renogrit, and you see lots of those on the flyers that you have with you. So that has happened, and most of the work that we do, we actually publish them, because publication of the research is a very, very critical component. For example, the work that you do, other than you using it for yourself, it is worthwhile to actually tell the world. You send to bigger journals and get them peer reviewed. And once they get published, then there is a more acceptability to the work that we have been doing. So there are a few examples of various therapeutic area where I've been working. For example, for cancer, this is the publication that we got a plant called Kakla Singhi, which has a specific compound called penta-O-galloyl D glucose, which happen to attack in a specific path for lung cancer. And we have shown very elegantly that this indeed has a significant role to take care of the lung cancer, and additionally for the breast cancer as well.